Well, welcome to Cover 2 TV. It's the Week 17 preview, and we are looking specifically at playoff implications. So if your team isn't in with a shout in the playoffs, you may as well switch off now. I'm only kidding. Don't. Like the video, subscribe, and then come back next week. I'm joined by Steve Hall for this one. Apologies, no review show. It was after Minnesota shut out the Green Bay Packers. Steve didn't want to record one, and we didn't have time because, you know, young families and Christmas and all that jazz. So we're going to start off with the NFC, and actually we're going to start off with these bad boys, the Minnesota Vikings, who are playing the Bears at Minnesota. Vikings can clinch a first round bye with either a win or a tie, a Panthers loss or tie, a Saints win or a Rams win. So pretty good all told for the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to win this game anyway, so I don't think they'll even have to worry about 2, 3 or 4 in these implications. They should beat the Bears. They've got nothing to play for, Chicago, have they really, other than a bit of pride. And sometimes, you know, we saw the other day with Tampa Bay and Carolina that divisional games can be a bit weird, you know, so mad things can happen, but at home, I don't think it'll even be a close game, to be honest. The Bears' offense is awful. Yeah. It's very much, I mean, I like Jordan Howard, I think he's really good, and Tariq Cohen's got something about him where he will make the odd magic play, but he can't sustain offense, and I expect the Vikings defense to just dominate this game, and hopefully, I really hope that for the Vikings' sake, no injuries, obviously for your sake as well, just try and get the game done early and get your starters off.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Although, you know, our offensive line, Easton went down with a broken ankle, so that could be big for us moving on into the playoffs. So it's important, I think, that you find somebody who can fit in there and have a little bit of practice with that full offensive line, because you don't want to be going into the first week of the playoffs having them not play the full game of football.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You need to, especially with the bye, there's going to be another week off. So you can give them a half or something. That's what you ideally. I mean, who knows? Football's weird. Things can happen, but the Vikings are better on both sides of the ball. I imagine they'll stop the run. That's what they do. They do that very well, to be fair to them. I say, what's the Packers do today? There was very little running game going, and I think the offense is going to have too much for the defense as well. So I think I think we can pencil the Vikings into the 2 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously this is going to be our last week of Pick'em as well. So when we do the review show for Week 17, we will update everybody with the Pick'ems. So we'll move on then. New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints can clinch the NFC South with a Saints win, a Panthers loss, or a Saints tie and Panthers tie. So it's very much in the Saints' hands, this division, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to Tampa Bay and win, and you're in. Like I say, Tampa Bay, to be fair to them, they'd stick around against the Panthers. Pretty much, probably should have won that game, if I'm honest. Obviously, a little bit of luck goes the Panthers' way at the end when Cam Newton picks his own fumble up and scores. And the Saints are showing signs. Well, they were showing signs that they were slowing down a bit. But then the other day, their defense just absolutely dominated.
Cam Jordan was incredible.
He just milked it all day. Then he had the Atlanta offensive line on toast, and I imagine it'll be the same again. Really, the Saints will they'll just run the ball. The very disappointing thing about Tampa Bay is their offense has been inconsistent, which has been a problem. But the defense has been dreadful, and it should be better. And I think they're too easy to score against. I imagine the Saints are just going to milk the clock and. I don't think it'll be a blowout win because you very rarely get blowout divisional wins in that division especially, but I think the Saints will win handily. And again, I imagine the Bucs are, in terms of, you know, coaching stuff, I imagine their cut, that'll be the end of him, and I think deservedly so. I don't think he's a good coach. And the Saints are going to they're going to be in the wild card race, aren't they? So they're going to be playing next week. So again, that's another one where you're hoping to get your starters out of there as soon as you can, but whether it works out that way.
Do you think they'll be resting any players? I mean, obviously the title's up for grabs. I mean, you know, the likes of Ingram, the likes of Kamara, the likelihood is they're not going to, but they'd like to be in a position second half where they could.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to rest anyone because you need to win. You don't want to be a wild card team. They're guaranteed that, which is great, but you want a home playoff game. You want someone to come to the Dome rather than you having to go somewhere like, you know, if they're a wild card, they might have to go to Carolina or they might have to go to Los Angeles, you know, to play the Rams or wherever. So, and then thinking further down the line, you don't want that. You want at least one home game, because the path is there for them to host a wild card game, and then go to Philadelphia against, you know, Nick Foles led Eagles.
Which is what you want.
Nick Foles, at the moment, I would rather be them, and I'd rather go to Philly, who are the 1 seed, than go to the Vikings, who are the 2 seed. So for them, yeah, you need this win. You don't want 2 road games. You want someone in your building, and it'd probably be the Falcons, it looks like, or the Panthers. Win a divisional home game, get to go to Philly, get to beat Nick Foles, and all of a sudden you're looking at a title game against maybe the Vikings or the Rams, looking far ahead. So it is a big game. You definitely want to win this one.
Okay, and obviously the other one in their division is the Carolina Panthers, who are at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, they can clinch the NFC South with a Panthers win and a Saints loss or tie, a Panthers tie and a Saints loss, or then the Panthers can clinch a first round bye with a Panthers win and a Saints loss or tie, and a Vikings loss and a Rams loss or tie. So the likelihood is, let's be honest, they're not going to clinch that first round bye, but they need the Buccaneers to do something against the Saints, and they have to win against the Falcons.
To win the division, I mean, they're already in the playoffs, which is good for them, you know, delighted for them. I like I'm always been a Panthers fan, I've been an advocate of the money, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. In terms of that, I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think he's a great traditional quarterback, but I think he's great at what he is. He's the only player I've ever seen like him. He's the only player who scores that touchdown at the end of that game, because his arms are that big. He just picked the ball off the floor. Everyone else would have to jump on that fumble, but he's that big, he can just pick it up and run in with it. He's great. This is a tough game, though, at Atlanta. And Atlanta have to win. It's winner. And we might as well incorporate it. The Panthers basically, if they have to win or hope that Seattle lose,
which is just as likely.
Absolutely, Seattle are not a good team at all. We'll speak about that in a minute. But your destiny's in your own hands at home. It's a big game. I actually think Atlanta are going to win this one and clinch that knockout place anyway. And that does for the Seahawks anyway, regardless, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure. So, in fact, it does. So, I don't know. With Carolina, there's very little to go for. I think sometimes it can be hard to motivate yourself, because by all accounts you're expecting the Saints to go and win. Like you mentioned before, if anyone's got a little bit of a nick or a niggle, are they going to be full pelters? And I think the Atlanta defence, although it was poor last week, I think it matches up well to Carolina. Carolina haven't got a great passing game. I just mentioned what Cam Newton is. So if you can stop the run, you've got a chance. And I think that's what I would be doing anyway. I'd be selling out to try and stop the run. I don't know what you think?
Yeah, listen, I fancy the Falcons in this one as well. More for the fact that, kind of, you touched on it there, the likelihood is Carolina aren't going to win their division, and what are they playing for? I think it's probably smarter for them to conserve a little bit of energy, knowing that they're going to have that extra game anyway, and make sure that they're fit and firing for that game. And
I imagine they're going to be the 5 seed, which takes them probably to New Orleans next week. So again, you do want to be, and so if all it takes, they're not stupid. You get word from Tampa about that the Saints are winning by 15-20.
Yeah.
Then you might just start taking your foot off the gas, and it'd be great. They might not, because they probably would rather have Seattle in the playoffs than Atlanta, because they beat Seattle a few times. They match up well, but I think at home I do fancy the Falcons, and it would be such a disappointment for Atlanta if they don't get it. They've been such an inconsistent side. I'll be honest, I don't think they can win the Super Bowl anyway, even if they get in. The defence has been really, really poor. And I thought it was going to be great. Up to the end of last season, 85% of the Super Bowl included, they were brilliant. But since then, they haven't been able to stop anybody. They just look very, very small, which was the problem, I thought. They're quick, they're speed, and speed kills in the NFL. It usually does in January, fast teams win. But then all of a sudden, it just fell to bits. And bar one game, really, against Dallas, where they didn't have a left tackle, they haven't generated enough pass rush. And you need pass rush against Cam Newton. If you give him all day, he'll either run around you, he'll throw you off, or he'll find his dump off option, which he has been doing well. So that's the concern for Atlanta. But I do think at home they'll just about get it done. Okay,
Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. Seahawks can clinch a playoff berth with a Seahawks win and Falcons loss or tie, or a Seahawks tie and Falcons loss. So Falcons have obviously got everything to play for in this one. Seattle needs to win and hopes for help from the Carolina Panthers. Do you think it's going to happen? And I'll tell you what, first of all, did they deserve it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're a very good team, if I'm honest. But they're injured. They're really, really injured. They've been what we thought. Every week we come on here, we keep saying the same thing. Russell Wilson is helping them at times. He's hindering them at times. And they are so horrible to watch. I watched that Dallas game. They're awful to watch, because it's just 3-0. Bad mistake, penalty. They had more penalties than yards, I think, against Dallas the other day. They lose their heads a lot. They've been in fights, they've been scrapping, they've had stupid penalties, but they hung around.
And they've had players come out after the game and say, make a play for me.
Exactly. So
that's not good.
No, exactly. It's not brilliant there, but you got a chance. They should beat Arizona. Arizona aren't good. Drew Stanton's playing, and he's not very good at all.
Where do you think's next for Bruce Arians?
He said he's not going to retire, or there's talk that he's not. if I'm honest, I don't see why you would stay. If you're thinking I might go next year, then you might as well go now. Unless they've got a plan to bring the quarterback in. And then, Larry Fitzgerald's already committed. You've
seen his numbers compared to Julio Jones?
Yeah, I mean, he's ridiculous.
Over the last 5 years, he's got, I think there's a couple of hundred less yards, but he's got more touchdowns and more receptions over the last 5 years than Julio Jones.
He's amazing.
And this is a guy who's coming to the tail end of his career, and Julio Jones in his prime, which is absolutely ridiculous. But same thing as the Arizona Cardinals have always had. They are so out of it with regards to television networks. They're just not seen very often. Yeah. So Larry Fitz, although he'll probably make Hall of Fame, I don't think he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I hope he is. He's amazing.
Well, he has been, but not enough people have seen what he's done.
And he's never won a Super Bowl, unfortunately. Exactly. He gave Arizona all, every chance, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
It was a long time ago now.
It's a while ago now, and he did it against. He knocked the Packers out pretty much on his own, but
that playoff run was just unbelievable.
He's such a good player, and he's committed to another year, which makes me think, are they bringing Carson Palmer back, or are they going to go for another? I hope they go for a new quarterback. I wasn't impressed by Palmer before he got hurt, and he always gets hurt anyway. So I think Arians will stay, but if I was them, I'd be considering a change. But like I say, I do think Seattle will probably win this game, but I don't think it's nailed on. It should be nailed on because they're a better team, but I don't trust them against anybody at the moment. I just don't think they're very good. But having said that, I picked the Falcons before, so if that's right, it kind of doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to the AFC then. We've got the New England Patriots versus the Jets, so it's at New England. Patriots clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs with a Patriots win, or a Steelers loss, or a Patriots tie and a Steelers tie. Now, this team will be going straight out there. They've just signed James Harrison as well, which I think, let's talk about it now. I was going to talk about it when the Steelers come in. Very, very savvy move by Bill Belichick.
If nothing else, you just learn the game plans. And
exactly. And that is so clever. And it's James Harrison, it's a big fuck you to the Steelers for saying, listen, I'm not good enough. He might be good enough to get a few big plays through this playoff run. But if nothing else, as you've just mentioned there, you are learning the ins and outs of that Steelers offense and defense.
Yeah, and the Patriots need a pass rush. That's the one thing they are lacking. We keep saying, they're probably going to get AFC, the home field advantage again. And the defense has been poor, but the offense has been so good.
It's been much better over the second half.
It's played well. They don't give up many points. I think their offense helps them a lot. Tom Brady milks drives for fun. I think at times he could go downfield and just score, but he takes his time just to give his defense a rest because Gronk at the minute is on a different level again.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting to the point where you can't stop him.
You just throw it to him and he catches everything. He's ridiculous. So, again, they should beat the Jets, no issues. Again, divisional game, and the Jets, to be fair, often give New England the game, but Bryce Petty's garbage. If it was Josh McCown, you'd maybe give them a sniff, but
chalk this one down for a Patriots win and them to clinch home field advantage. That simple. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Browns, so it's in Pittsburgh. They can clinch home field advantage with a Steelers win and a Patriots loss or tie, or a Steelers tie and a Patriots loss. We've just kind of said that that's probably not going to happen. Do you think the Steelers might down tools, and do you think this is a game where the Steelers do down tools?
Excuse me. No, they're going to have to go all the way out. You have to try and win and see what happens elsewhere. And the Browns are it looks like they're going to go 0-16, doesn't it? They were desperate for this game to be meaningless, and it very much isn't meaningless. So obviously the Steelers are helped by Jacksonville's loss the other day because they were still in the mix for that bye as well. They've guaranteed themselves a bye.
Jimmy G helping out the Patriots.
You don't have to sell me on Jimmy G. I've been all over. I'm very much on that train. Follow me Twitter feed every time he does anything. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Browns can do something, but I don't know. They're going to go 0-16, and for some reason, the head coach is going to keep his job. And other teams apparently want him, and he's won one. He's going to be 31-1. He's never won a game on a Sunday.
What was it, a Thursday? Yeah, or was it a Saturday one?
It's just absolute bizarre.
Wow.
It's just absolutely, it's mental. And I think what we'll see from this game is, again, the Steelers will keep an eye on things in New England and see how they go. But if that's close, then they're going to keep playing and playing. But the fact is, they should have too much for Cleveland anyway. And you go into this game just thinking, just don't get injured. If anyone's any nicks or knocks or whatever, just don't pick them. Like, for example, Le'Veon Bell's been having like 30 touches a game.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
Just stop it. I don't care if, I know James Conner's injured next month, just put anyone in, just rest him, because it happened last time when he got to the New England game and he was injured. So just look after yourselves and you should beat the Browns. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. Yeah. It is what it is.
Okay, so Baltimore Ravens are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, who surprised me this week with a victory. The Ravens can clinch a playoff berth with the Ravens win or tie, a Bills loss or tie, or a Titans loss or tie. These will be someone that not a lot of teams will fancy in the playoffs.
Well, they've got something about them. They've got a very good defence. And to be fair, their offence has started to pick it up recently. They look a bit better. They've scored a lot of points. A lot of that's come because the defence is, giving them short fields and stuff. But I think they'll win. I think they'll beat the Bengals at home. I've been saying for a while the Ravens are going to be nailed on for that 5 seed, and I don't see any difference. If this was on the road, like we saw the other day, the Bengals were a bit frisky against the Lions, but the Lions are crap. I know they were hanging around, but they're not a good team. The Ravens defence should have too much for Andy Dalton and stuff, but
I think me and you would.
There's a good, maybe. There's a good chance. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't know what you. I think the Ravens.
It's going to be Ravens all day, mate. I just don't like this Bengals side. I think they're absolutely crap. There's no offense. The defense isn't as good as it was in the past. They're struggling to win games. I was really shocked that they managed to win at the weekend, to be fair. Okay, we'll move on then. Tennessee Titans are hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Titans can clinch a playoff berth with a Titans win. A Titans win, Bills loss or tie, and a Chargers loss or tie. A Titans tie, a Bills loss or tie, and a Chargers loss or tie, or a Bills loss and a Chargers loss. So basically, win and you're in.
Win and in. If you lose, you're hoping that the Bills and Chargers lose as well. The Jags are the Jags. Last week really would concern me if I was a Jaguars fan, because it was the Blake Bortles meltdown game that we've all been expecting. We're football fans, like Liverpool soccer fans, whatever, and we see it from our goalkeepers or defenders. They can have 5 good games on the run and you're never confident because you know the mistakes around the corner for the 6th one, and that's exactly what happened with Blake Bortles the other day. So Tennessee should be fancying their chances. Having said that, they're not a good team. They're really not a good team. I've been disappointed with the running game. There is no offense. Mariota's not playing.
Just struggled.
Mariota's not played well. Defensively, they're nothing special. Although
these are a team that if they make the playoffs, I'd be very comfortable playing.
Yeah,
I think a lot of teams would be looking at
home against Tennessee.
Yes, please, thank you very much.
I would, if I were in the AFC, I would much rather the Titans get in than the Chargers. By far.
Chargers have an offense
and a defense.
Yeah,
the Titans they're just
they're middle of the road, aren't they?
They've had an easy schedule every time they've played a good team. They've lost handily. I mean, the other day they hung around against the Rams, but ultimately they still lost that game. Fair enough, they've beaten up on the bad teams, which you need to do, but they've lost. They play the Steelers and get absolutely destroyed on a Thursday night. The Rams beat them the other day. When they have to play good teams, they lose. Are the Jags a good team? that's the question. They're a very, very good defense, and that's what I think that the Titans' struggling offense is going to be the reason why they lose this one and miss out. And to be honest, as a neutral, I don't really want to watch the Titans in the playoffs. They're boring. They're not very good. I think if they have to go somewhere, I think they'd lose.
I feel like if a team makes the playoffs, you want them to have at least one outstanding phase. Whether that's offense or defense. They're just middle of the road and everything, aren't they? They're just a bit crap.
If they're the 6th seed, that means they're probably it'll be this game again, just the reverse. They'll be playing Jacksonville on the road. So that's one thing for them. You know what? If we beat them now, we can beat them again, because that's what it will be. So I think the Jags will have too much for them.
Yeah.
I think the Jags will have too much for them.
Yeah, same here. Okay, we'll move on then. Chargers are hosting the Oakland Raiders, who have been garbage this season as well, to be fair. Yeah. They can clinch a playoff berth with a Chargers win and a Titans loss or tie, and a Bills loss or tie. A Chargers win and Titans loss or tie, and a Ravens win or tie. A Chargers tie and Titans loss and Bills loss or tie.
Ties always confuse me.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, isn't it? And I think one of the things with the Chargers at the moment is ultimately they need results from other teams, and the teams that they need results from aren't that good. This is it. You're hoping for a result from the Titans or the Bills. Now the Titans can very much easily lose, and the Bills could lose. In fairness, I think the Chargers are going to win this game.
Yeah.
I think that's what matters, and that's what they need to keep the focus on.
Just win. Just beat the Raiders. The Raiders are crap. They're absolute crap. Derek Carr's injured. I think his back looks knackered. He can't move as well. He's so reluctant to throw the ball deep. He always has been, and it's even more pronounced this year. I think he's going to get a healthy dose of Joey Bosa in his face. And like I say, you've got to win, and then if they win, And what we predicted from the other 2 games works out, is that the Ravens and Titans the Ravens win and Titans lose, then they're in. Or it goes to strength of schedule and they get through because of the mad Nathan Peterman game, which the Bills are probably going to come to regret because they started Nate Peterman against the Chargers, and don't get me wrong, Tyrod Taylor might not have beat them, but Tyrod Taylor wouldn't have threw 5 interceptions in his first 10 passes. I can guarantee that wouldn't have happened, so it might come back and bite them on the arse.
Silly Buffalo.
And if I'm in the AFC, this is the last team I want.
Yeah.
So they're going to be the 6th seed, going to Jacksonville most likely, and you'd fancy them to get a result in Jacksonville. They wouldn't be scared going into Jacksonville, would they? So I think
that's it. They could stop that Jacksonville offense, and Jags' defense is brilliant. It's fantastic, but Phil Rivers is a great quarterback.
Yeah, they got the running game. They got a running back. He's not particularly great, Melvin Gordon, this year, but there's a sustainable running game. They've got a very good receiver in Keenan Allen. Obviously, that'd be a really good game. That's the one I'm hoping to see, if I'm honest.
I'm gonna sound it out now. If that is to happen, watch out for Antonio Gates.
Yeah, he's back. Obviously, Hunter Henry's injured, so Antonio Gates is back, and he can't run. He's the slowest man I've ever seen.
Doesn't matter.
He just catches everything.
He
schooled Jamal Adams. I'm a big fan of for the Jets, and he got took to school the other day. And I think he knew after the game. He was like, yeah, Antonio Gates just schooled him. Just little subtle movements, little nudges, little push-offs, and he was brilliant. And yeah, he could be I hope he is. He's been a great player through my time growing up watching the NFL. He's been one of the prominent players, and like I say, he can't move anymore.
Am I right in saying him and Tony Gonzalez, wasn't it? Was Antonio Gates the first basketballer convert to tight end? I think, and he's just done it so well, and now everybody is.
Yeah, but can you bounce a ball, play basketball? You can go and play tight end, and he had an amazing career. I'm desperate for a Chargers playoff run because I don't want to see the Titans. They bore me, and the Bills bore me. The Chargers will do something stupid and lose at some stage in the playoffs. That's what they do, but it would be more fun. And I think they are. I'll tip my hand now. I think they're going to win this, and I think the Ravens are going to win, and I think the Titans are going to lose, and therefore that gets them in.
So you think the Titans are going to win?
No, sorry, I think the Chargers will win and the Titans will lose, and the Ravens will win. So then that means the Chargers go through. Yeah.
Sound okay. Buffalo at Miami. Bills can clinch a playoff berth with a Bills win and a Ravens loss. Now the Ravens obviously playing the Bengals, so that's going to be difficult. A Bills win and a Chargers loss or tie and a Titans loss or tie. Well, you might get one of those two things. You might get the Titans losing, or a Bills tie and a Chargers loss and a Titans loss, which is probably not going to happen.
Yeah, ties are rare.
Very fucking rare. So there we go then. Buffalo Bills at Miami. Do you fancy their chances?
Not really, no. If I'm honest, I think Miami are going to win. I think the Bills have blew it. I think that they're going to really regret that Nathan Peterman thing. And I understand they would never have won the Super Bowl anyway, but that fan base hasn't had the playoffs for 20 years or something, you know what I mean? And they blew it. That's as simple as that. Again, the Bills beat the bad teams.
How many Super Bowls was it on the bounce that they got to? Was it 4?
4, yeah, and they lost all 4, and then since then they've had nothing going for them.
Number 22, Emmitt Smith just ran over them in the last 2 of them.
That's pretty much what happened.
I was watching them. I remember watching them. Brilliant games.
And since then, they've had nothing, and I think they're going to blow it, and they should win this game, but Miami are a decent team at home. They're terrible on the road. Jay Cutler the other day, he looked like the most frozen man I've ever seen when he was playing, but they're not a good. The Miami aren't good, but I don't think the Bills are particularly great either. And this could be anything. I think they blew it, and I think it's a shame because for a while they were the best. I was saying they were the best coach team in the NFL for the first 7-8 weeks, and then they absolutely blew it. And I mean, we were saying they got in their own way. We knew why they didn't like Tyrod Taylor, but they were still winning with him. You go to your backup quarterback when your season's done, and they didn't, and unfortunately for them and their fans. And I like the Bills. I've always had a soft spot for them, but I think they blew it. Okay,
I'm going to ask you a question now, Steve. We've not rehearsed this in any way, shape or form. We've not spoken about it, but you just mentioned it. Who has been the best coach team this season, do you think?
Oh, the Rams. Yeah. The Rams offense is ridiculous. It's like the greatest show on turf, reborn. They've got one star player. Obviously, Todd Gurley is an absolute star. The rest of them are just role players, you know. Robert Woods, Jared Goff, I don't think is particularly great.
Is the best coaching decision this season hiring Wade Phillips?
It's a very, very good coaching decision, I think.
Have you seen his first season playoff run?
He often gets there.
It's like every time, every single time.
And his defense, that was an amazing quarter. You know, for the youngest coach in the league, to get one of the oldest coordinators to help him out along the way. Their offense has been fantastic. I think the Vikings, Mike Zimmer deserves a huge. You know, you lost your first 2 quarterbacks, and you've clinched the 2 seed. That's an amazing job.
Pat's amazing as well. I think he might be going for a head coaching job.
Yeah, I mean, he got fucked up last time, but who doesn't You know, that Browns job is a tough job to have. So yeah, Pat Sherman might. He probably should be, because I was saying this the other day. There could be like 8 or 9 vacancies. There's a lot of coaches on the bubble, and there's a few coaches, I think, like Jason Garrett, for example, who are going to keep their jobs because
the yes man.
Well, more because so many other teams are going to fire their coaches that they're going to think, you know what, we'll stick as we are, because it's going to be a crapshoot to get in who we can get in. But I do think Pat Sherman's I think he's done a really, really good job. Who else other than that? I've been very impressed with the Ravens defense. I think it's been really good, and obviously listen,
I think for me, I'm going to take the Vikings out of it because I'm obviously going to say the Vikings. I think Rams was number 2 on my list. I think the Eagles has been number 1 on my list, to be honest with you. I think just the way that they've used Carson Wentz a little bit differently to last season, the way that they've still managed to pick up a couple of wins with Nick Foles, I think he deserves massive, massive credit for that.
I suppose the last one is Gus Bradley's defense. In Los Angeles has been pretty good. You know, Ingram and Bose have been good, and also then the Jacksonville defense as well, which has been out of this world. But yeah, I think I'm happy. Sean McVay's come in and he's
just changed it up, man. And I love the fact that he's just not asked about saying that he's ripping plays off people, because everyone knows it happens. But for a young guy to come in there with those big bollocks and go, yeah, of course I am. I'm nicked after Andy Reid. You know what I mean? First game of the season.
I like the fact that he understands his quarterback and he's talking to his quarterback at the line of scrimmage. Very, very few coaches do it. And listen, if I was a head quarterback, I would not want that. I'd be fucking, that'd do my head in. But Jared Goff's not that good. So if any help he can get, you know, to find his reads, by all means. The rule is your headset goes off when the clock goes to 15. Use all that time available. Get yourself to the line, do it. I think he's been an absolute revelation.
And have you seen him when the defence is on the field and he's sat down and he's scribbling stuff on the side, and you're like, this guy's in control. And that needs to stop though, because he will miss things there. Yeah. I think, you know, he's obviously got somebody else who's in charge of the game management.
It's just the way it will.
And that's fair enough, like, but there are big calls that get made in those situations. Now, that might hurt him at some point, or he'll grow into the role and be more comfortable with doing both.
Yeah, so he's a young coach, isn't he? And the final thing on the Rams, their kicker situation, it might come back and bite them on the arse. We'll talk about that on the playoff preview, but Greg Zuerlein's gone out injured and they got this lad off the street who hasn't kicked for 10 years or whatever, and they didn't trust him the other day.
There's a few things like that. The Vikings long snapper went down, didn't he? And you know, our backup tight end had to go in there. We've actually just signed someone this week to be a long snapper for us, so we need to see how that works out. But
things like that at this time of year can be costly, because the NFC playoffs is so bunched up. There's so many decent teams. I don't think there's one particularly great team. I think there's a few very, very good teams. Like, I think the Vikings are the favourites, and the Rams and the Saints are the best 3 teams now. And the AFC is the same. There's 2 good teams. Those little fine margins in playoff victories, and I just think, I really hope it doesn't come down to a kicker. I've seen so many fucking teams get knocked out. Your team just lose because you do so well, and then your kicker can't kick it through the sticks. It infuriates me, so I hope it doesn't. But we'll soon find out.
There you go, that's our Week 17 preview. Something a little bit different this week, obviously, because there's so many dead rubber fixtures. If you've enjoyed the shows, please do like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For the last time in regular season, thank you very much from me and Stay. Hope you've all had a great Christmas, and I hope you all have a very, very good New Year.